Chapter 1926. Northern Plains Retaliation. Quickly stop them, Fang Dichang shouted. Western Desert's immortal goo houses tried their best to stop Zhao Shan He and Yu Zhuzi, but in front of them, Heavenly Court's goo immortals were putting up a tight defense. Roar! Zhang Fei Xiong turned into a giant, obstructing an immortal goo house relentlessly. Crack, crack, crack. Flesh Whip Immortal turned into an immemorial walking meat tree. She waved her branches and whipped at the immortal goo houses. They were knocked about and spinning around all over the place. Bam, bam, bam. All kinds of immortal killer moves erupted, as if they were large bursts of fireworks, incomparably splendid and powerful. These were all rank 8 killer moves of Heavenly Court's goo immortals. The immortal goo houses of Western Desert suffered a serious obstruction, inevitably hesitating. Taking advantage of this time, Zhao Shan He and Yu Zhuzi finished their preparation and unleashed their immortal killer move. Sitting and eating the mountain empty, Western Desert's goo immortals were hit. Again, they then helplessly watched as a giant pillar of starlight shot down, teleporting away the central continent goo immortals. The next moment, they returned to Heavenly Court. As the goo immortals healed their wounds, they exchanged conversations. It's really getting harder and harder to use the killer move, sitting and eating the mountain empty. After all, the other side has elites of an entire region, so they cannot be underestimated. As the saying goes, if a fool suffers sufficient losses, he will become wiser. But their strength has also been weakened quite badly, so they probably won't be able to hold out after 2 more times. The goo immortals were full of morale, and the more they fought, the higher their spirits became. This moment, Qin Song's face turned pale, and he coughed out a small mouthful of blood. His blood was yellowish-brown, and there were countless small insects jumping around in the blood foam. Senior Qin, are you injured? Zhou Xiong Xin, who was standing right next to Qin Song, asked with concern. Zhou Xiong Xin was dressed in a white robe. He had a strong physique and a squarish face with thick eyebrows. In his last battle with Fang Yuan, he activated the fastest battlefield killer move in the world, Rumor Cage, and once caused Fang Yuan to fall into a dangerous battle. In the end, Fang Yuan was even more calculating and used the arrangements left by the organization Defy to plot and kill Zhou Xiong Xin. But this time, Fang Yuan was reborn. Zhou Xiong Xin was thus alive and one of the many goo immortals that fought along with Heavenly Court. Qin Song weakly shook his head. This is an old injury. It is not from the fight earlier. The Heavenly Court goo immortals all gathered around to check on Qin Song's state. Even Fairy Ziwei came here. Qin Song was the key person now. The reason why Heavenly Court was able to display such a powerful star-cast killer move was not only with the help of the related formation and star constellation chessboard, but also relying on Qin Song's strength. Qin Song was most skilled at teleportation in the previous life. He was the one who brought the Heavenly Court goo immortals on a long journey to quickly make their way to Dizongshang. At that time, he did not have his complete set of immortal goo. He used killer moves without caring about his own condition, causing him to die prematurely. This life, however, he had awakened earlier. The situation was much better. Not only were his immortal goo comprehensive, he also got to use an advanced lifespan extension method. Qin Song's seniority was very high. He had gone into hibernation long ago. During his hibernation, Heavenly Court had many new findings and improvement in their research on lifespan extension methods. As time passed, there were bound to be improvements. As a result, Qin Song's lifespan was extended to a certain extent, but the repeated battles made him repeatedly exert himself, and his health declined rapidly. His lifespan was greatly reduced. Based on your current physical state, I'm afraid you can only use 4 movement killer moves at most. Beyond that number, your flesh and soul will all collapse. Fairy Ziwei calculated for a moment and spoke. 4 times? Qin Song smiled and coughed out another mouthful of yellow blood with a calm demeanor. It is enough to defeat Western Desert, and there's still room to spare, so maybe we can deal a blow to Southern Border as well. Or maybe Eastern Seas goo immortals. As for after my death, it will be up to all of you. The Heavenly Court goo immortals were silent. Only Flesh Whip Immortal grinned. Don't worry, old man Qin. I'm here. There was nothing they could do about Qin Song's state. The cause behind all of this was his old injury. an injury that he had brought with him from exploring reckless savage's grave. It could not be treated in the past, and now it was still fatal. Fairy Ziwei, however, did not order a further attack. She was pondering in her head. Without Qin Song, Heavenly Court would not have the ability to teleport in groups. Relying on star constellation chessboard alone would be too inefficient, and it would seriously reduce her own ability to deduce and calculate. Fairy Ziwei had experience in using StarCast. This killer move consumed too many thoughts. If she had to use this killer move, she would no longer have the extra energy to look over the big picture. This was clearly not worth it for Heavenly Court. It would be fine if it was just one battlefield, but Heavenly Court was fighting in at least 3 battlefields. They were facing not only the powerful elites of the 4 regions, there was still Fang Yuan, the demon who had yet to do anything to as the leader and strategist of Heavenly Court in both the previous life and this life. Fairy Z Wei had to oversee the whole situation. What a pity. There is no wisdom path to immortal awakening in the immortal graveyard this time. Fang Yuan has yet to make a move, and Qi Si Ancestor has made no movements either. If we waste Qin Song early at this time, it will be bad if there is a sudden change in the battle in the future. Fairy Ziwei pondered deeply. Unwilling to expend a key force like Qin Song in advance, she always considered one thing. Fang Yuan possessed a killer move using fixed immortal travel, as well as the ancient battle formation omnidirectional travel. He could quickly appear in any place in Central Continent if Heavenly Court preserved the remaining uses of their star cast method. When they deal with Fang Yuan in the future, it would be much easier. Right now, we have 4 battlefields. They are in Heavenly Court, Hairy Foot Mountain, Emperor City, and Hidden Dragon Cave. Fairy Ziwei looked around, analyzing as she spoke. Of these 4 battlefields, Heavenly Court's battlefield is the most important. Once we are breached and Fate Gu gets destroyed by Longevity Heaven, all hope is lost. The second most important is Hairy Foot Mountain. If Infallible Blessed Land is destroyed and we don't refine enough success down marks, it will have a huge impact on our ability to repair Fate. However, this is not irrevocable. Even if the Infallible Blessed Land is destroyed and we don't have enough success down marks, Fate Gu would still be alive. In the future, with new developments in refinement path, we might be able to find other ways to repair Fate Gu. After that is Emperor City. The Western Desert Immortals are moving with their forces aimed straight at Emperor City. But after our repeated strikes, their vigor has been lost. Emperor City itself is already heavily guarded and defended by human path methods left by venerables. Even if it is destroyed and the elites are all dead, it is not very important. In 100 years, more elites will emerge. Finally, there is Hidden Dragon Cave. Although there are many Eastern Sea rank 8 Gu Immortals, they are not looking to kill and only want to seek gains. The formation and Old Man Bei Feng alone won't be able to defend against them, but delaying them for a while is more than enough. During this period of time, we only needed to support them once to stabilize the situation over there. A Gu Immortal asked, "So, what is your decision?" Fairy Ziwei cast her gaze towards Calamity Luck Altar in the Qi Wall. Let's take care of Longevity Heaven first. With Heavenly Court secure and Fate Gu safe, even if the situation outside is completely lost, we will always be in an impregnable position. After a pause, she continued, in addition to that, it will also allow Senior Qin Song to preserve his health, preventing Fang Yuan and Qi Si Ancestor from suddenly making a move. Great. These are truly the words of a great strategist. I'm also feeling uneasy about trapping Calamity Luck Altar in our headquarters. After all, they are the descendants of Giant Sun, so they might unleash a surprising attack anytime. We will listen to you. After listening carefully, the Heavenly Court Gu Immortals all approved of this plan. As a result, the Immortals stopped attacking at a long range. They entered the Qi Wall and fought Longevity Heaven fiercely. The Qi Wall and Heavenly Court was left behind by Primordial Origin Immortal Venerable. After so many years, except for the 3 paths that were opened by the 3 Venerables, the rest of the Qi Wall was still strong and enduring. And even worse was that the Qi Wall still retained its autonomous abilities. Heavenly Court Gu Immortals were allowed to move freely in it, while Longevity Heaven's Gu Immortals were restricted by a strong force. There was a hemispherical battlefield in the Qi Wall. Heavenly Court's Gu immortals bombarded Calamity Luck Altar with a barrage of attacks with their backs against the wall. Once Calamity Luck Altar retaliates, these Gu immortals would rapidly retreat, entering the Chi wall and using it to block Calamity Luck Altar's attack. Because of this, Heavenly Court's Gu immortals were able to attack with their full strength. Calamity Luck Altar's surface was filled with cracks, a S and rank 8 immortal Gu house. Calamity Luck Altar itself was extremely sturdy, and it was created by Giant Sun Immortal Venerable himself, so it had a clear advantage. In charging, it was simply unreasonable, but all along, it was always obstructed by a Gu immortal. This person was Duke Long. His body was slowly growing minute by minute. His face was like iron, his body was robust, and the defense of violet gold dragon scales all over his body was extremely amazing. Transformation path killer moves were being unleashed as he desired. The moves were domineering and fierce, blocking Calamity Luck Altar firmly, be either Calamity Luck Altar or killer moves of Heavenly Court's Gu immortals that he was in range of. He held firm, as if he was a pillar of heaven. All of the rank 8 killer moves felt like just a light breeze that I in the previous life. Duke Long and the Eastern Sea Gu immortals fought for Dragon Palace, and although he succeeded, he was seriously injured. By the time the Central Continent Refinement Path Convention was held, Duke Long was still injured, so his performance in battle was not so shocking at the start that I in this life. Because Fang Yuan had obtained Dragon Palace in advance, Duke Long was in a fully intact state and could attack Calamity Luck Altar to the point where it could not inch forward. Duke Long is actually so strong. Bing Sai Chuan was livid. The accompanying Bull Demon, Flower Lady, and 5 Elements Grandmaster were all desperately trying their best to repair Calamity Luck Altar. This won't work. Without breaking through the barrier in front of us, we won't be able to get close to Heaven Overseeing Tower. In Calamity Luck Altar, Mao Li Chiu lay down on the ground, yelling out in dissatisfaction. Bing Sai Chuan struggled for a while internally before he sighed. There is no other way. Activate the killer move call of the ancient. Calamity Luck Altar suddenly stood still and abruptly exploded with a round of golden light. The light was so dazzling that it caused Duke Long to squint his eyes. Swish, swish, swish. The sound of river waves surging through the battlefield resounded. The phantom image of a segment of the Grand River of Time appeared above Calamity Luck Altar. This is... Duke Long's heart was slightly shaken. Then, following the astonished eyes of the Heavenly Court Gu immortals, Northern Plains Gu immortals walked out of the phantom river of time one by one. Come on, eat one of my explosive lightning bolts. The tall-bodied new heir Bao Xiong laughed wildly. To think that I can use this move to come to the future and participate in a huge battle, I am truly fortunate. Hey Fan had a slight smile. Wow, what a huge battle. Oh heavens, I better hide somewhere. Lu had a delicate white face. He had a crafty look as his body vanished on the spot. Chapter 1927. Asking Fang Yuan for reinforcements. What happened? These are all historically famous experts from Northern Plains. They've actually been summoned here. The Heavenly Court Gu immortals were all surprised. Duke Long said in a deep voice, "Attention everyone. This is Red Lotus Demon Venerable's Time Path Killer move, Call of the Ancient. It can summon closely related Gu immortals from the upstream of the River of Time to the present to fight for the user." That's interesting. Flesh Whip Immortal licked her lips, her fighting spirit surging as she rushed up. Let me do it. Zhang Fei Xiong transformed into a giant. Together with Flesh Whip Immortal, they crashed into Calamity Luck Altar from the left and right. But at this time, Calamity Luck Altar was already guarded. Inu Air Bao Xiong roared wildly and used his immortal killer move. Lightning balls flew everywhere, exploding fiercely. For a moment, Flesh Whip Immortal and Zhang Fei Xiong were both blocked by the lightning balls. Their attacks were thwarted. Zhu Kei'er squealed and used her movement killer move, drawing a bright and stunning red trail of light through the air and circling behind Calamity Luck Altar. Don't even think about it. A male immortal stepped out of the phantom river of time to block Zhu Kei'er. He had a handsome face like jade, graceful and dashing. His gaze carried a faint smile. It was Dong Fangyu. Boom, boom, boom. Zhu Kei'er and Dong Fangyu fought a fierce battle. Immortal killer move, sitting and eating the mountain empty. In the distance, Zhao Shan, he, and Yu Zhuzi joined forces once again and successfully activated the killer move. The killer move worked on Calamity Luck Altar with very little effect. Calamity Luck Altar was worthy of being created by Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. Its defense against Food Path was quite strong. Yi Xiaozi's killer moves followed one after another. Wooden stakes were created out of thin air, forming a circle to trap Calamity Luck Altar. Yi Xiaozi grunted in a low tone again, and countless bright green vines grew from the wooden stakes, wrapping around Calamity Luck Altar and spreading upwards in an attempt to stain the Phantom River of Time. It's useless. This Phantom River of Time cannot be attacked. Only by defeating Calamity Luck Altar, which is sustaining it, can we put an end to this move. Duke Long was about to make a move, but another Heavenly Court Gu Immortal suddenly teleported towards the Phantom River of Time. This Gu Immortal resembled a child with black hair. He had a small cowlick on the top of his head. His face was round and cute. It was none other than Vortex Space Boy. His aura surged as a huge vortex appeared above it had. It had an immense suction force that destroyed anything that got drawn into it. But the Phantom River of Time remained unmoved, completely unaffected. Another newly appeared Northern Plains Gu Immortal had just walked out. He could not react in time before the vortex sucked him in. Haha, at least I had some gains. Vortex Space Boy laughed as he exerted even more force. Nian Air Tribe's expert was trapped inside. Nian Air Nong Food. He looked like an old farmer. His pants were rolled up. His legs were covered in mud. His back was hunched. Wrinkles covered his face. Trapped at this moment, he sighed. Oh my. I'm going to die in battle as soon as I get out. Seriously? Of all the Northern Plains Gu Immortals, I'm the least proficient at fighting. The small face of Vortex Space Boy puffed up as he did his best to grind and crush Nian Air Nong Fu. Nian Air Nong Fu was guarded by a pale yellow halo of light. It was thin but very strong, firmly resisting the crazy force of the spinning vortex. Another Gu Immortal came out from the illusory river of time. Seeing that Nian Air Nong Fu was trapped, he was about to rescue him. However, Heavenly Court Gu Immortal Zhou Xiong Xin also arrived in time to stop the man. Yi Lui Ko also came out. His skin was dark and his eyes were like a falcon, scanning the battlefield. He suddenly found the weakest Gu Immortal in Heavenly Court, Qin Song. Qin Song's weakened state was hard to conceal. Yi Lui Ko sneered and attacked Qin Song straight away. Your opponent is me. A beautiful female immortal intercepted Yi Lui Ko while he was on his way. Yi Lui Ko gazed at the female immortal, feeling a certain threat to his life. Who are you? The female immortal smiled fawningly, but her words were murderous. Your killer, Wan Zihong. As the two fought, golden light flashed and petals flew. Figures flew in the sky or fought on the ground. Intense explosions continued to resound. Sparks were flying, bright lights were flashing. Northern Plains Gu Immortal experts fought against Heavenly Court's members. Rumble. Zhang Fei Xiong's flesh was torn by new air Bao Xiong's explosions. Crack, crack, crack. Flesh Whip Immortal smacked Yuan Ben so hard that the white bone armor Yuan Ben was wearing got smashed to pieces. He was forced to retreat. Nian Air Nong Fu was still resisting, while Vortex Space Boy was gritting his teeth, refusing to give up. Surrounding the two who were deadlocked in battle, several Gu Immortals were also engaged in a fight. The Gu Immortals were all beginning to suffer injuries. The air was filled with the thick smell of blood. Even though I used the killer move, Call of the Ancient, I am actually being pressured. Bing Sai Chuan gritted his teeth, his heart growing heavier. The trump card he had pinned his hopes on did not turn the tables around. It only saved him from defeat and deadlocked the situation that I in the previous life. Heavenly Court's Gu Immortals had awakened hastily from the immortal graveyard, and despite the emergency deployment of the immortal Gu by Fairy Z Wei, their battle strength was still crippled. But this life was different. These Heavenly Court Gu Immortals had great battle strength, and were in good condition, enough to fight with the strong Northern Plains and even suppress them. After all, there had been a lot of cooperation between the Heavenly Court Gu Immortals. While Northern Plains' historically powerful experts had just been summoned, they had heard of each other at most. In their own lives, how could they have worked together? This can't continue. The longer call of the ancient lasts. the more experts it will continue to summon into battle. Fairy Ziwei frowned, feeling both worried and glad. Thankfully, she had placed priority on dealing with longevity heaven. This killer move was really troublesome. If they had used Star Cast earlier, the loss of Qin Song and the scattering of heavenly courts experts would likely allow longevity heaven to succeed and rush out of the Qi wall. After all, there were few Gu immortals left in heavenly court, and Yuan Xiongdu and the others had to preside over the refinement path Gu formation. The only main force that could block Calamity Luck Altar was Duke Long. Duke Long gazed at the phantom river of time for a while, before slowly withdrawing his gaze. He sighed in his heart. He could not unravel this killer move. It was like how he could not deal with the support of the future killer move that Red Lotus Demon Venerable used back then. If it can't be broken directly, then all we need to do is to demolish Calamity Luck Altar. Thinking of this, Duke Long slowly clenched his fists and stepped into the battlefield. Yi Xiaozi suddenly coughed blood. The killer move backlash caused him to suffer heavy injuries. He had been cooperating with Duke Long to investigate and restrain Calamity Luck Altar. But how could the rank 8 Immortal Gu House be so easily restrained? Yi Xiaozi had to retreat into the Qi wall, while Calamity Luck Altar stirred, trying to break through the Qi wall. Duke Long silently approached Calamity Luck Altar. Block him. Bing Sai Chuan ordered coldly. He was someone from Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's generation. While most of the experts of Northern Plains were descendants of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable, so they naturally listened to him, Inuair Bao Xiong was the first to strike. Hundreds of lightning balls smashed towards Duke Long. Boom, boom, boom. With a series of deafening explosions, smoke and dust rose. New Air Bao Xiong laughed wildly. Have you tasted my power yet? Ha ha ha. A figure gradually walked out of the smoke and dust. Duke Long's face was indifferent, his body as straight as a spear, his violet gold dragon scales still gleaming, leaving only a trace of ash at most. Inuair Bao Xiong was furious. He stared with glaring eyes, his aura soaring wildly. Take this move from me again. He held his hands above his head and countless thunderbolts gathered into a huge, deep blue lightning ball. The surface of the lightning ball was lingering with electricity, but inside it was dark and deep. New Air Bao Xiong threw it like a meteor shooting towards Duke Long. Duke Long was finally willing to avert his gaze, but only gave a glance at the lightning ball that he waved his hand. Rumble, the air currents soared, forming a big hand, and with a slap on the back of his hand, the lightning ball was sent flying far away with ease. Inuair Bao Xiong's powerful killer move was thus dealt with by Duke Long. The next moment, Yu Yangzi, Lu Hui, and Lu attacked one after another, while Duke Long went straight to Calamity Luck Altar without looking at them. Only by destroying Calamity Luck Altar would Call of the Ancient be stopped. Boom. Calamity Luck Altar was punched by Duke Long and sunk into the ground. A fist crater appeared on the surface of the Immortal Gu House. A large number of Gu worms died in battle. Even the Immortal Gu were damaged. The killer moves of the Northern Plains experts seemed like a downpour of rain, drowning Duke Long, but after the continuous bombardment, Duke Long was still standing. Only a light layer of soot was added on his face. How is this possible? How can this person be so strong? He is Duke Long, the master of Red Lotus Demon Venerable. Someone identified Duke Long as the Gu Immortals of Northern Plains drew a sharp breath of cold air. He was an old monster, but at the next moment, the morale of the people of Northern Plains soared again. They had a brave nature. The stronger Duke Long was, the more excited they became. Kill, kill, kill. Decapitate this old fellow. Protect Calamity Luck Altar and break out of the Qi wall. The Northern Plains Gu Immortals roared wildly, fighting to break out and setting off a flurry of attacks. These Northern Plains lunatics. Humph, brutish cavemen. The Heavenly Court Gu Immortals had to retreat and back off for a while, faced with the relentless spirit of Northern Plains Gu Immortals to fight to the death. Duke Long could not continue to ignore it this time. That he snorted lightly. Annoying pests. As soon as his words fell, the aura around him changed. Qi currents rushed and spread everywhere. While Duke Long's body became firm like a mountain, his aura soared rapidly. The killer move was prepared as Duke Long waved his hand. Whoosh! Air was forcefully pushed aside, 5 grand chi waves flew forward overbearingly. Everywhere they went, the killer moves of Northern Plains experts broke apart like paper. They could not stop the chi waves. It was a mortal killer move. Chi current scissors. Duke Long extended his hand to the sky and pointed. Immortal killer move. Chi breath mountain. Rumble. A huge translucent mountain created from chi currents descended and pressed down immediately. The Northern Plains Gu immortals wanted to escape, but several of them could not dodge. They were pushed down by the chi breath mountain as it crashed towards Calamity Luck Altar, turning into meat paste on the spot. The entire mountain of chi currents pressed down on Calamity Luck Altar so hard that the ground was shaking violently. Calamity Luck Altar was originally ready to attack, but now it was immobilized. Duke Long unleashed 2 moves in a row. The effect was immediate. He suppressed the entire battle. Bing Sichuan's expression was livid. His heart sank to rock bottom. He now realized that they could not break through the chi wall with their own strength alone. Ignoring the other Gu immortals, just Duke Long alone was a mountain they could not pass. It was not that Bing Sichuan had no other trump cards in the previous life. He asked Limitless to turn around. Restraining Duke Long for a long time, he was unable to move entirely. But in this life, Calamity Luck Altar was too far away from Imperfection Regret Pavilion. This method could not be used. In the previous life, Calamity Luck Altar reached Central Great Hall before asking for Limitless help. We can only ask Fang Yuan for help. Bing Sichuan had a thought in his mind. Chapter 1928. Fang Yuan takes action. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable had once told Bing Sichuan, if the plan to attack Heavenly Court fails, and Longevity Heaven loses all hope of getting Fate Gu, they would need to ask the crucial person for reinforcement. Who is the crucial person? Back then, Bing Sichuan asked this question. Giant Sun Immortal Venerable then answered him. Whoever destroys 88 True Yang Building is the crucial person. When the time comes, you will definitely know. Longevity Heaven's plan was to refine Destiny Gu. They needed to snatch Fate Gu first. But unlike the previous life, Bing Sichuan had suffered a serious setback this time. He had no choice but to ask for help from Fang Yuan. By the time he received the letter from Bing Sichuan, Fang Yuan was already in Central Continent, hiding inside a formation of the organization Defy. This large formation was set up by Shadow Sect and left for Defy to use as a base camp. However, after the Battle of Etion Mountain, Shadow Sect perished. Defy was uprooted by Fairy Z Wei, resulting in this formation turning vacant. In the previous life, Fang Yuan used this formation to successfully kill Zhou Xiong Xian. In this life, the situation had changed and Fang Yuan retreated early, not tangling with Zhou Xiong Xian too much in order to guard against the killer move people's accusation. As a result, Zhou Xiong Xian survived and became a fierce member of the main force of Heavenly Court, while this formation in Defy was preserved. To think that Longevity Heaven would encounter such trouble. Fang Yuan's eyes flickered as he rapidly pondered. He had been unaware of the situation in Heavenly Court now. This letter containing Bing Sichuan's request for help described their precarious predicament in detail. Compared to the previous life, Fang Yuan soon found the key to Longevity Heaven's problem. They were relocated into the Qi Wall the moment they arrived. It should be because of Qin Dingling. With a luck path Gu immortal like her, Heavenly Court could find out Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's arrangement in advance. They even managed to use this to ambush Longevity Heaven instead. Fang Yuan understood. This is yet another change. There is also Call of the Ancient, so it turns out that once Calamity Luck Altar activates it, it can teleport immediately. In the previous life, Bing Sichuan used this against Duke Long. Before getting this information, Fang Yuan had been wondering about Heavenly Court's method to use Starcast on a large scale, trying to find a way to break it. How greatly Fairy Ziwei valued it, and did everything possible to preserve the method, was how greatly Fang Yuan wanted to destroy it. By now, Fang Yuan had deduced that this formation was in Heavenly Court, with the core being star constellation chessboard and the countless stars scattered in the sky. The power of the formation was projected onto these stars, using them as the springboard to create a large-scale starcast effect. Fang Yuan did not deduce that Qin Song was the key figure in his previous life. Qin Song made a very brief appearance and died after escorting the Heavenly Court Gu Immortals to Hidden Dragon Cave. Later, the Eastern Sea Gu Immortals did not inform Fang Yuan of this information. Lacking this crucial clue, Fang Yuan's deduction had hit an impasse, but now he had become somewhat aware of it. According to the information conveyed by Bing Sichuan, although Fairy Ziwei did not participate in the siege, she also appeared outside the Qi wall to observe the battle. That's a bit strange. This massive use of star cast should exert all her effort, yet she's still able to distract herself. Someone is helping her. Who is that? Is there another wisdom path great expert? Or did others cooperate to create a successful large-scale use of star cast? Fang Yuan quickly threw away this train of thought. Now was not the time to contemplate this question. He had to make a decision as soon as possible. As a wisdom path Gu Immortal, Fang Yuan was now like a chess player who was playing against Fairy Ziwei. Both sides had their own chess pieces. Fairy Ziwei was clearly a number of pieces ahead, not only in her own wisdom path attainment, but also Heavenly Court's unity. And in the current situation, she had a distinct advantage. Fang Yuan had a seemingly huge force at his disposal, but in reality, they were fighting on their own. He could only exert influence and push his agenda on the people of the four regions subtly. Although his subordinates were numerous and far surpassed the previous life, few were qualified to participate in a battle of such a level. Fang Yuan fully considered the entire central continent battlefield once again in infallible blessed land. The southern border Gu Immortals entered the battlefield and fought, breaking formations one after another. But this was not a concern for the 9-9 consecutive unceasing formation. There were endless sub-formations in the battlefield of Hidden Dragon Cave. The Eastern Sea Immortals were trapped in a large formation and were struggling to break it. However, it was clear that Old Man Bei Feng could still hold on for a while longer for Emperor City's battlefield. The Western Desert Gu Immortals were still on their way. Their morale was low too in Heavenly Court's battlefield. Longevity Heaven was completely at a disadvantage, and since they were ambushed by Heavenly Court, they had completely lost the initiative of the four main battlefields. The most important is still Heavenly Court's battlefield. Fate Gu is in Heavenly Court. If we want to win this battle, we must destroy Fate Gu. Fang Yuan thought, just like Fairy Ziwei's analysis. Both sides knew where the most important place was. That being the case, we cannot lose in Heavenly Court. Longevity Heaven's performance is so disappointing. I was hoping that they would cause problems for Heavenly Court and trigger Genesis Lotus Immortal Venerable's painting path methods first. Fang Yuan knew that he had to support Bing Sichuan even though he had deceived Fang Yuan for his own interests in the previous life, and also in this current life. For the sake of the entire situation, Fang Yuan had to provide support. Heavenly Court Battlefield. Immortal Killer Move. Chaotic Dragon Fist. Steel Fist shook Calamity Luck Altar. The force of the punch caused tremors as countless Gu worms perished instantly. Within Calamity Luck Altar, Mao Liqiu shouted, "Let me out. Let me hold him back." Bing Sichuan had a cold expression and shook his head. "No, you are no match for him. You'll be courting death if you go. You're not like the others. Heavenly Court's Gu Immortals will target you." Duke Long ignored Northern Plains' generations of experts. He let the other Heavenly Court members deal with them. Heavenly Court knew clearly that they could only stop Call of the Ancient by destroying Calamity Luck Altar, but once Mao Liqiu entered battle, it would be different. It was a fierce general of Longevity Heaven. It had great strength, and killing Mao Liqiu would greatly weaken Longevity Heaven. He would definitely take action. Immortal Killer Move. World-shaking Dragon Hammer. Duke Long shouted. He raised his fists above his head and smashed down like a giant hammer. The surface of Calamity Luck Altar shattered. A huge amount of Gu worms died, their carcasses flying everywhere. A large hole was smashed open on the surface of Calamity Luck Altar. It was only the size of a finger, but the inside could be seen. Duke Long roared. Longevity Heaven, only defeat awaits you. This outcome was already predetermined from the moment you tried to attack Heavenly Court. Heavenly Court's Gu Immortals cheered, their morale climbing to its peak. The might of Duke Long is overwhelming. Bing Sichuan sighed long and hard, feeling a sense of powerlessness. Why hasn't Fang Yuan come to support us? Five Elements Grandmaster called out, inevitably revealing a sense of trepidation. As far as I know, Fang Yuan is only rank 7. Even if he repeatedly defeated Heavenly Court, he was only taking advantage of the River of Time. If he comes to support us, will he really be able to change the battle situation? Even if he brings out myriad year-flying warship, the other side has Duke Long. Bull Demon spoke, expressing doubt. Indeed, as of now, it would be difficult to resist Duke Long with just 2 rank 8 immortal goo houses. Duke Long's battle strength was too astounding. What was even more unbelievable to them was that with every passing moment, Duke Long grew stronger endlessly. This was unreasonable. Mao Li Chiu snorted. That lad took reverse flow river in front of my very eyes. At least with that killer move alone. Even if he's only rank 7, he can resist Duke Long and take the pressure off us. Fang Yuan will definitely support us. Bing Sichuan smiled. I don't know much about him, but I believe in Lord Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. Just as this was said, the Heavenly Court Gu Immortals actually began to retreat. They had the Qi Wall to rely on, thus retreating quite smoothly. Soon, only Duke Long was left on the scene. In the meantime, Ziwei Fairy dispatched urgently. Quick! We must send support quickly. The 9-9 consecutive unceasing formation in infallible blessed land is about to collapse. Hidden Dragon Cave's formation is also facing destruction. Zhou Xiong Xin and the others were shocked as someone asked, how could the situation change for the worse so quickly? Fairy Ziwei said, Fang Yuan is making a move. Oh, even so, the unceasing formation won't collapse so swiftly. He showed up in person? Let's take him out. We will kill this source of chaos for the sake of the world. The Heavenly Court Gu Immortals were all excited. Previously, Fang Yuan had repeatedly defeated Heavenly Court, causing many of the Gu Immortals to become angry. After Fang Yuan relied on his knowledge to extend his advantage in the River of Time, Heavenly Court lost the lead and failed miserably during the Battle of the Stone Lotus Island, suffering huge losses. Now that the Central Continent Refinement Path Convention was held, Fang Yuan had to attack. The battlefield was placed in Central Continent. The Gu Immortals were eager to see how much territorial advantage Fang Yuan could exploit this time, but Fairy Ziwei shook her head slightly. Fang Yuan has not shown himself. I'm afraid the ones outside are only his subordinates. The Heavenly Court Gu Immortals were stunned. Mere subordinates could cause the 2 immortal formations to break apart. Fairy Ziwei explained. In Hidden Dragon Cave, Immortal Gu House Dragon Palace appeared. They used a large number of dream realms to erode the formation. The truth dawned on the Immortals. They had an understanding of Fang Yuan's dream realm methods. They had already expected this. Dream Path was an era ahead. It was only natural that the formation would be broken. But we have Feng Jin Huang guarding the 9-9 consecutive unceasing formation. Although she's only a rank 5 Gu Master, she can use the power of the immortal formation to unleash the Dream Path Killer Move Shatter Dream and transform dream realms into pure dream reality seeker physique bodies. Zhou Xiong Xin expressed his confusion. Fairy Ziwei said in a complex tone, that's because he did not use Dream Path methods against the 9-9 consecutive unceasing formation, but Rule Path instead. Rule Path. Heavenly Court's Gu Immortals gasped in amazement once again. Rule Path. Within the infallible Blessed Land battlefield, the Southern Alliance Immortals looked at the formation in front of them with great surprise. They had broken several formations in a row, but they had learned from Fang Yuan that this was the 9-9 consecutive unceasing formation. While they were feeling annoyed and troubled, this 9-9 consecutive unceasing formation broke apart on its own. When they exited the formation, the Southern Alliance Immortals saw a large formation suspended high in the sky, constantly emitting a 5-colored smoke miasma. The smoke miasma infiltrated the 9-9 consecutive unceasing formation, forcing Heavenly Court's Gu Immortals to dismantle the subformations on their own. These are reinforcements of Fang Yuan. This formation was created by Southern Border Gu Immortal Tao Zhu. It is called the 5 Regional Limit Formation. It can emit a smoke miasma and create a formation similar to the environment of the 5 regions' regional walls. Wu Yong received a letter from Fang Yuan at this time and explained with a rather complicated expression. Chapter 1929, Evil Dragon Escapes. To think that there would be such an amazing formation that can counter the 9-9 consecutive unceasing formation. To think that our southern borders Gu immortal, Tao Zhu, created it, it seems that we had greatly underestimated this person. Fang Yuan actually possesses this method. When did he get it? The southern border Gu immortals conversed as they sighed in amazement. Fang Yuan had extorted and blackmailed them, but now it was Fang Yuan who had stepped in to support them, which made the southern border Gu immortals all feel quite complicated at this moment. The voice of Zhan Budu came from within the 5 regional limit formation. Southern border, please do not lower your guard yet. Heavenly Court will not sit around as they lose control of this battlefield. They will surely send reinforcements. In that case, please also open the immortal formation and let us defend within it. A southern border Gu immortal replied. Zhan Budu smiled lightly, not hiding his contempt in the slightest. There is no need to say such naive words. Whether you all fight or retreat, it depends on your willingness. If you don't want to fight, just scram. You. The southern border Gu immortal who answered had a change of expression from anger at this moment. More than 10 giant pillars of starlight shone down. The main force of the heavenly court really did come to help out. This is the formation. Tear it down. Zhang Feixiong took the lead. Zhan Budu was silent and began to activate the formation with his concentration. The 5-colored smoke miasma not only defended itself, but also spread incessantly to the 9-9 consecutive unceasing formation. Even though the latter formation was created by star constellation Immortal Venerable, it had to dismantle the subformations at the moment. It was stalling for as much time as possible. Let's take action and do our best to protect the 5 regional limit. Formation. Wu Yong did not hesitate and immediately ordered. Lord, but this is Fang Yuan. Haven't you been opposing? Someone was unwilling that Wu Yong gave this person a fierce stare and spoke in a stern tone. Everything is for the big picture. His prestige was high. Wu Clan was also the #1 force in Southern Borders Gu Immortal world. Their leadership had become a tradition. The Southern Alliance Gu Immortals immediately engaged in a fierce battle with the Heavenly Court Gu Immortals. With their help, Zhan Budu was relieved internally. The pressure on his shoulders dissipated mostly, and the 5-colored smoke miasma spread even more menacingly. With the cry of a phoenix, flames dazzled, and the figure of Prince Feng Xian appeared. He had sharp eyes and a golden cloak on his back. He opened his mouth to breathe out a monstrous flame. The flames burned in the 5-colored smoke miasma, sweeping towards the immortals of Southern Border. That a rank 8 Gu immortal of Southern Border, Yihao Feng, immediately transformed into a sea beast and rode the waterways to stop the flames from spreading. Jun Xinguang transformed into a white light, moving through the battlefield, avoiding the 4 rank 8s of Southern Border, and attacking the remaining rank 7 Gu immortals. Moving along with him were Zhou Xiong Xian, Zhu K'er, and others. Unfixed Manor, Flying Sand Pavilion, and Bay Pavilion were all taken out as Southern Border's rank 7 Gu immortals quickly entered them. Ah! A scream was heard as Vortex Space Boy carried the head of a Southern Border Gu immortal in his hand. Taking advantage of this moment, the rest of the Southern Border rank 7 immortals entered the immortal Gu houses. You guys are moving too slowly. Vortex Space Boy looked at Zhou Xiong Xian and the others as he chuckled. Where are you going? Wu Yong snorted coldly and chased after him. Vortex Space Boy retaliated with an immortal killer move. Obviously prepared in advance, Wu Yong raised his hand similarly, setting off a roaring tornado of wind blades. The 2 killer moves collided with a loud bang. Air currents surged. The 5-colored smoke miasma rumbled like a dragon. Vortex Space Boy and Wu Yong grunted at the same time, and their faces turned pale. Immortal killer move, sitting and eating the mountain empty, taking advantage of. This time, Zhao Shan he teamed up with Yu Zhuzi once again to display this powerful killer move. Even if you have immortal Gu houses, so what? Yu Zhuzi snorted coldly. All the immortals in the Southern Border immortal Gu houses were hit by this move, and their faces changed color. Their Gu worms and immortal essence were all rapidly depleting out of thin air. That Wu Yong's pupils shrunk. He advanced instead of retreating. Defend me. Bada and Chi Chuyu immediately moved to his side. The immortal Gu houses stayed at the periphery. Stop him. Heavenly Court's Gu immortals were all experienced in battle. Wu Yong immediately drew all their firepower as he looked like he was about to launch a powerful killer move. Qi Chuyu and Bada struggled to resist them, but soon lost the ability to continue holding them off. One of them was a formation path Gu Immortal, while the other had just advanced to rank 8. How could they be a match for the Heavenly Court Gu Immortals? In terms of strength alone, Heavenly Court was clearly superior to the Immortals of Southern Border. Fortunately, Southern Border had immortal Gu houses as well as the 5-colored smoke miasma created by Jean Boudu. They were huge obstacles for both sides to fight with their full strength. The difference in strength between the two sides was somehow balanced. However, even though the Heavenly Court Gu Immortals knew well that the stronger the attacks they used in this miasma, the deeper the backlash they would suffer, they were still brave enough to fight to the death, having a relentless stance as they approached the 5 regional limit formation without any fear of their lives. After some time, the Southern Border Immortals battle formation started to show signs of crumbling. Wan Zihong suddenly gave a delicate cry as flower petals flew, attacking the Southern Border Immortal Gu houses in front of her and forcing them to move aside, forcefully creating a path to move on. Zhang Feixiong followed, transforming into a bare-headed giant and slamming into the 5 regional limit formation. Boom! There was a loud bang, and the formation trembled viciously. Massive amounts of Gu worms perished. Even Jean Boudu suffered backlash, spitting out a large mouthful of blood. Ah, that hurts. The formation spirit was in the main formation. It howled miserably as its body suddenly became much more illusory, no longer as solid as before. The Heavenly Court Gu Immortals were no better. They also suffered enormous backlash, but one by one, they gritted their teeth and tried their best to destroy the 5 regional limit formation. Oh no, the Southern Alliance won't be able to defend against such a fierce attack from Heavenly Court. Jean Boudu secretly gritted his teeth. The main power of the 5 regional limit formation lay in the 5-colored smoke miasma. Although its defense was also strong, it would never last long under the fierce attack of these Gu Immortals. But even if that's the case, I'll fight to the death and try to stall for as long as possible. Jean Boudu was already prepared to die. Everything was for the big picture. Even if it meant sacrificing this clone, he would have no regret. Sacrifices should be made when necessary. Clones were also merely chess pieces. It was just easier to fully utilize them. Even if the 5 regional limit formation was broken and destroyed, it was still valuable. On one hand, it temporarily maintained the Heavenly Court battlefield and protected longevity Heaven's members. On the other hand, it gave a crucial amount of time for the battlefield in Hidden Dragon Cave. Hidden Dragon Cave. A large amount of dream realms were eroding the battlefield. Old Man Bei Feng was livid but unable to do anything about it. Call for help! Call for help! Grandfather! Feng Chanzi shouted in a hurry. His face was pale and covered in cold sweat. Old Man Bei Feng did not speak. He had already requested for support, but Heavenly Court's reinforcements were delayed. That did not make sense. After all, Heavenly Court had a way to use a large-scale star cast method. It would only take an instant for support to come over. If they did not appear at this time, they must have been held back by something. A bad feeling filled Old Man Bei Feng's heart. Roar, already sensing the weakening of its bindings. The suppressed Di Zong Sheng within the formation was also struggling at this time, adding onto the burden of the formation. Immortal Killer Move. Mountain Suppression. Immortal Killer Move. Broken Mirror, Shard Light. Qing Yuan and Song Qi Yuan were the first to break through the restraints, and because of their efforts, the power of the formation was greatly weakened once again. The other Gu Immortals were able to successfully break through one after another. The 8 Immortals converged, and although they were still inside the formation, they had noticed the change. How could there be so many dream realms? Zhang Yin pretended not to know and looked surprised. Perhaps Fang Yuan is helping us. Shen Song Sheng deliberately said. He had actually gotten a message from Fang Yuan. Who else can control the dream realms besides him? Why is Fang Yuan here? Hua Kaiyun frowned. As the saying goes, great people see eye to eye. He may also try to target Di Zongsheng. Qing Yuan guessed as he healed his wounds. Then let Fang Yuan go release Di Zongsheng. Should we withdraw now? Hua Kaiyun hesitated. Right at this moment, there was a loud rumble as an immortal Gu house broke the formation, charging towards the formation core. This immortal Gu house was a majestic palace, emitting an orange-golden glow. It was overbearingly magnificent, and the surface of the palace was filled with dragon-shaped carvings. Hua Kai Yun, Fang Yuan, and the others were stunned. Although they were seeing it for the first time, they all guessed the name of this immortal Gu house at the same time. Dragon Palace. There was a loud rumble as Dragon Palace crashed through the core area. Old man Bei Feng howled and fell to the ground. He suffered a strong backlash. He was currently in a terrible state, having less than 10% of his battle strength left. Immortal killer move. Dreamy light smoke. Dreamy light smoke, with a gentle movement, moved old man Bei Feng into the palace and sealed him with ease. Feng Chanzi, who was beside old man Bei Feng, also got swept into this smoke. Seeing a rank 8 Gu immortal being suppressed so easily, the Eastern Sea rank 8 Gu immortals could not help but show changes of expressions. Only half of them were genuine, while the other half were disguising their emotions as they knew about the truth that Wu Shuai controlled Dragon Palace. And after capturing old man Bei Feng, he plunged down into the depths of the earth trench, ignoring the 8 Eastern Sea immortals. Fang Yuan and the others looked very pale, realizing that they were being used as cannon fodder and bait by Fang Yuan. A moment later, they heard another deafening dragon roar. The earth shook as heaven and earth changed color. A huge evil dragon slowly rose up. The Eastern Sea Gu immortals panicked and retreated, looking up. The evil dragon Di Zongsheng was so huge that it was like a mountain range, flying high in the sky, enveloping heaven and earth. It could shroud the brilliance of the sun and moon. Thankfully, Di Zongsheng did not find trouble with the Eastern Sea Gu immortals and flew directly to the west. Central Continent is in for a world of trouble. Haha. Strange. Where did Dragon Palace go? What? You want to fight against Fang Yuan? Let's leave now. You all saw the move that Dragon Palace just used to capture old man Bei Feng, right? It's a dream path killer move. The Eastern Sea immortals stopped their conversation. They did not dare to stay longer. Fang Yuan's demonic might had shocked rank 8s. After all, Heavenly Court had been defeated by Fang Yuan several times. Now that he used the methods of Dragon Palace, he shocked these unsuspecting Gu immortals even more. Di Zongsheng has been released. It will definitely create chaos in Central Continent, creating a good opportunity for us. No, don't forget how the Heavenly Court Gu immortals appeared before the war started. I don't want a dozen or so Heavenly Court rank 8s suddenly appearing around me when I'm on the move. The Eastern Sea Gu immortals were also communicating while flying away. They frowned when this was brought up. They had originally planned to release Di Zongsheng to deplete Central Continent's foundation and attract firepower to facilitate their actions. But Heavenly Court possessed the method to use a large-scale star cast, nullifying the effectiveness of this plan. Chapter 1930. Chi Ci Lang. To continue with their previous plan, Eastern Seas immortals would have to first unravel Heavenly Court's method. Otherwise, it would be too dangerous. Shen Zongsheng looked at the sky. Thinking of the information that Fang Yuan gave him, he spoke. It is not impossible to unravel Heavenly Court's method. Heavenly Court purposely arranged a large number of stars in White Heaven and used them to relocate Gu immortals to anywhere in Central Continent. The other Gu immortals' eyes brightened at the news. Then we should destroy these stars. But if we attack White Heaven, wouldn't we be provoking Heavenly Court? What if the main force of Heavenly Court besieges us again? Some Gu immortals were hesitant. Granny Rong spoke slowly and logically. There is indeed such a risk. Zhang Yin sneered. What are you afraid of? If you can't beat them, can't you escape? Just pay some attention to prevent Heavenly Court from making use of a battlefield killer move. If we engage in a hit-and-run situation, can Heavenly Court waste their time chasing us? Haha. Zhang Yin's words are reasonable. Yang Zi's eyebrows raised. He caressed his palm and smiled. Currently, the situation in Central Continent is chaotic with battles everywhere. Di Zongsheng has even been released. We have already provoked Heavenly Court at this point. What is there to hesitate? Shi Miao acted like he was contemplating. It seems that Heavenly Court cannot cope with so many battlefields at the moment. If not, why wouldn't they come over to fight us? Why would they let us free Di Zongsheng? Song Chi Yuan nodded. Heavenly Court is already overwhelmed. It seems that the southern border Gu immortals have found the location of infallible blessed land and are storming the battlefield, attacking Heavenly Court's formation. The western desert immortals are heading to Emperor City. The northern plains Gu immortals are still nowhere to be seen, but these barbarians are bound to join in the chaotic battle. And with Di Zongsheng rampaging as well. In my opinion, I'm afraid Heavenly Court won't be able to care about us yet. With that, the Eastern C8 immortals reached a unified opinion once again and acted in unison, heading for White Heaven. They were still unaware that Longevity Heaven had already engaged with Heavenly Court in a huge battle that in their case. Emperor City did not have anything valuable to loot. Infallible Blessed Land was attractive, but Southern Border and Heavenly Court were already fighting there. It was better to avoid it. Heavenly Court. Fairy Ziwei stayed in Central Great Hall to oversee the situation. All sorts of new information reached her continuously. Eastern Seas Gu immortals entered White Heaven. Their motive was very clear. They wanted to destroy the stars that Heavenly Court had arranged. But it was not a problem. When they set up the stars as an arrangement, Heavenly Court made considerations. Fairy Ziwei decided to ignore them. These stars were placed in a scattered manner. They were far from each other. If Eastern Seas Gu immortals wanted to destroy them, they would need to spend a lot of time. In other words, Heavenly Court was using these star immortal materials to stall 8 rank 8 Gu immortals. This was extremely worth it. Fairy Ziwei was happy to see them take action. After all, with Qinsong's condition, they could only use a large-scale star cast method 4 more times. Before Eastern Seas Gu immortals destroy all the stars, these 4 uses would likely be expended. What worried Fairy Ziwei was Di Zongsheng. In truth, Di Zongsheng escaping was not too worrying to Fairy Ziwei. But the problem was, after escaping, Di Zongsheng acted very strangely. It did not create chaos and destruction wantonly. It flew away calmly and was not in a maniacal state. This was different from historical records. Was it subdued by Dragon Palace? Fairy Ziwei could not help but think of this. It was easy to deduce it. Firstly, Heavenly Court had records that Dragon Palace was an enslavement path, immortal Gu house. Everyone knew that. Secondly, Fang Yuan sent Dragon Palace to attack Hidden Dragon Cave. He must have had some intention. Dragon Palace displayed powerful dream path methods. With its battle strength, Fang Yuan would not use it in a non-crucial battlefield. If Fang Yuan's previous idea was to use Dragon Palace to subdue Di Zongsheng, then him dispatching his subordinates to set up a large formation to restrain the 9-9 consecutive unceasing formation and attract the main force of our Heavenly Court to attack furiously is just bait. At the same time, the attack of the 8 Eastern Sea Immortals is also a smokescreen that he threw. Fairy Ziwei's eyes flickered with cold light. Fang Yuan was actually able to influence the 8 Immortals of Eastern Sea? How did he do it? Among the 8 Immortals of Eastern Sea, it seems there are members of Fang Yuan's group, or those who secretly work with him. I'm afraid that there are quite a few of these members. There are at least 2 of them. Fairy Ziwei speculated. But what if Fang Yuan coincidentally happened to be there? The 8 Immortals of Eastern Sea unexpectedly had the same goal as him, allowing him to benefit by chance. This is also quite possible. After all, Fang Yuan has Giant Sun's true inheritance. His luck has constantly been good. Qin Dingling is on our side, but she is still healing. Altering Giant Sun Immortal Venerable's arrangement had a much larger price than we expected. Even if he was an opponent, Fairy Ziwei could not help but admire Fang Yuan. She also had to admit, Fang Yuan had done a beautiful job in the Hidden Dragon Cave battlefield. The bad feeling in her heart was still deepening. Fairy Ziwei's attention was mostly focusing on Di Zongsheng. Most likely, it is being controlled by Fang Yuan. Then where exactly is it going to reinforce the enemy? Emperor City is the nearest battlefield. The elite Gu masters have just arrived. They have yet to officially begin the final round of the Refinement Path Convention. Destroying Emperor City will greatly delay the restoration of fake Gu. It is also likely to go to the Hairy Foot Mountain battlefield. Wiping out the main force of Heavenly Court at once is also Fang Yuan's style. Even if the main force of Heavenly Court is teleported back by me, he will still find a way to destroy infallible Blessed Land. Once he destroys the Blessed Land, then at least this time, our restoration of fate Gu will have to be suspended. Of course, Heavenly Court's battlefield is also a possibility. Since longevity heaven can come in unannounced, it is also possible that Fang Yuan can come. After all, he has obtained Red Lotus Demon Venerable's true inheritance, so he might have access to such a backdoor secretly. For the first time since the start of the war, Fairy Z-Wei felt passive. If the large-scale star cast method could teleport Duke Long as well, it would be great. However, unfortunately, Duke Long's might became an obstacle to the teleportation. To make a comparison, the Heavenly Court rank 8s were like a dozen rabbits, while Duke Long was a full-grown elephant. The difference between the two was considerably big. The star cast method could not move Duke Long immortal killer move. Decomposition. Northern Plains Gu immortal Yu Yang, Z used his signature method. This killer move was largely the reason why he was famous in history. Decomposition hit Duke Long directly. His body paused for a moment. As he looked at Yu Yang Z, he had a plain expression. Oh, that's decomposition. You are Yu Yang Z. When Duke Long said that, he was hundreds of steps away from Yu Yang Z. After he said that, purple gold dragon-shaped chi flickered as he was teleported right in front of Yu Yang Z. At this moment, Yu Yang Z's pupils shrank to pin size, as his heart pounded wildly with alarms and warnings that he tried to retreat, but it was clearly just an extravagant hope. His neck was steadily choked by a large hand that was Duke Long's hand, covered in purple gold dragon scales, with fingers as sharp as blades that Yu Yang Z had already activated his defensive killer move, but the killer move's light was like glass. It shattered under the force of the monstrous dragon claws. Before dying, Yu Yang Z roared and self-detonated. An intense explosion resounded. The terrifying shock waves spread out intensely, shaking all the surroundings. The smoke and dust dissipated. The figure of Duke Long remained standing like a pillar of heaven. Immortals of Northern Plains, what else do you have other than a lack of fear? For death. Duke Long's tone was plain, but it spread throughout the battlefield. The Northern Plains immortals gnashed their teeth, but could not refute it. Although the main force of Heavenly Court had all withdrawn with only Duke Long left, even with only Duke Long alone, Calamity Luck Altar still could not make an inch of progress. They could only rely on Call of the Ancient to constantly summon powerful experts of Northern Plains and history to maintain the battle situation. And this. Suddenly, Lulu's figure appeared behind Duke Long's back. Duke Long's body shook. The gray light dagger in Lulu's hand was thrust into his back. Even the purple gold dragon scales could not block this method. This was Lulu's signature killer move, Despicable Penetrating Blade. In the previous life, Lulu had killed many members of Heavenly Court with this move, and even severely injured Fairy Z-Wei. At that time, if not for Wu Shuang blocking most of the power, Fairy Z-Wei would have died tragically in his hands. Good. Seeing this scene, the Northern Plains immortals were suddenly energized. Since the start of the war, no matter how furiously the Northern Plains immortals attacked, this was the first time that Duke Long was wounded like this. However, Lulu's face changed abruptly. He could not hide his shock. Although his killer move dagger had pierced into Duke Long's body, it was like the blade got stuck in a block of iron, unable to move a single inch. A human path killer move? Not bad. It fits your temperament. Duke Long slowly turned around and stretched out his hand, steadily grasping Lulu's head. This moment, Lulu suddenly realized. Duke Long purposely got hit by my move. He used his body as bait to trap me. It was not that he did not want to escape, but he could not. Like the dagger in his hand, he could not move. Slap. With a cracking sound, Lulu's skull was like a watermelon easily crushed by Duke Long. His headless corpse immediately fell down. The gray dagger in his hand dissipated instantly. Who else? Duke Long raised his arms and shouted. His body was like iron, having grown to twice the size of a normal man. His long purple hair dancing wildly in a monstrous wave of sounds. The Northern Plains immortals responded to him with countless killer moves. Rumble. There were dazzling light shadows. Countless killer moves were stacked on top of each other. Duke Long rushed out brutally, displaying world-shaking dragon hammer and ruthlessly slamming into Calamity Luck Altar. With a loud bang, Calamity Luck Altar flew back dozens of steps, creating a long trench on the ground. The front that was hit by Duke Long was completely caved in, forming a shockingly deep pit. There is no time to repair damage of such a level. Bing Sai Chuan thudded, his heart sinking violently. Bull Demon, Flower Lady, and Five Elements Grandmaster were trying to repair Calamity Luck Altar. They froze at this moment. If Calamity Luck Altar broke, Longevity Heaven's members would immediately lose this battle. They would die without a proper burial. But at the moment when Duke Long was about to attack again, a black light flew out from the river of time. The black light followed the hole in the front of Calamity Luck Altar and shot into its interior, transforming into a young and handsome-looking Gu immortal with curly black hair hanging down his waist. With a wave of his palm, the young Gu immortal's dark light surged, quickly repairing the damage of Calamity Luck Altar and saving Longevity Heaven from the brink of defeat. Bing Sai Chuan's body shook intensely. Seventh Prince. Duke Long snorted coldly. So it's Giant Sun's child. The young-looking Gu Immortal was the seventh child of Giant Sun Immortal Venerable. He was known as Seventh Prince. He nodded. Duke Long. With me, Chi Ci Lang. Here, it will be much harder for you to destroy Calamity Luck Altar now.